Please note that before we get started, the information being provided at today's session is based on current information available to the public regarding the Special Services at Home application, or what we refer to as SSAH. This information is subject to change without notice, and Surrey Place is not affiliated with any of these income support programs and does not play any role in the approval or denial of these supports. Special Services at Home is a program funded by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. It helps families who are caring for a child under the age of 18 with a developmental or physical disability who is living in the home. A child is not eligible if they're receiving support from a residential program. The program helps families pay for special services to help their child learn new skills and abilities, such as improving communication skills and becoming more independent. The funding can also pay for respite support for the family, pay for services that will give the parent a break for the day-to-day care of their child, or summer camps and programs. Please note that there currently is a hold on new funding for this program. So they are accepting new applications, but you will receive a letter indicating that funds are frozen, and once funding is released, then they will process applications in the order that they are received. So right now there is more than a year wait for this service. It is a reimbursement-based program, so you'll get a package once you're approved and your funding allocation is released, and you're given a yearly allotment of funding. You receive a package with invoices, so you would pay up front for, say, a summer camp or a respite worker or somebody to come into your home to look after your child, and then you would get them to sign the invoice and send it back to the ministry, and they would send you the reimbursement for that money. You receive the funding on a yearly basis. It's a yearly total amount that is approved, and how you choose to spend that funding is up to you within the parameters and guidelines of the program, which I would encourage you to look at the website about what those services and supports that you can purchase would be. You cannot use the funding for therapies of any kind, so occupational therapy, speech therapy, ABA therapy, but you can use it for many creative things. Somebody to come into your home to clean your house, if that allows you to have more time to spend with your child or children. You can use the money to pay a babysitter to babysit your other children, if that means you can take your child with special needs out into the community and spend time with them individually, or vice versa. There are many creative ways that you can use this money to help your family or your child. Families can apply for special services at home if their child has a developmental and/or physical disability and lives in the province of Ontario, at home with their family, and who require more support than most families can provide. This program is not based on your income. Special services at home is allocated in a yearly amount. The amount a family receives depends on the type and amount of services the child needs, what other help is available in the community, and what kind of support the family is already receiving. Let's go ahead and start completing the form. If you are a professional watching this video and you are helping a family complete this application, this is where you might want to put your name. And for families, if you have a social worker or a professional supporting your family and you're looking for additional input or support in completing this application, please reach out to that person and they can perhaps offer you some additional support or put their name here in order to be able to speak to the ministry. This is the part of the application where you want to write in information about your child or family member. The application will be under their name and not your name. So today's date goes in the date of the SSAH request. Indicate please if the child or family member is legally entitled to live in Canada. You put their last name, first name, gender, date of birth, current address, and if the mailing address is the same, you don't need to write anything in that section. This is the section where you write detailed information about the family caregiver or parent. You do not need to fill in the address twice if it's the same as the individual's address on the previous page. If this is a brand new application, the first time you're applying for this program, you do not need to write anything in this section. However, if this is a reapplication, if something major has changed in your family or with your child, or if you've been asked to complete a renewal, you would provide any updates in terms of any major changes in the amount of assistance that is required in the areas below. This is a section of the form where you want to confirm that you're attaching the documentation required, which in this case is always a diagnosis letter confirming the diagnosis of the child, as well as you want to make sure you attach a copy of a void check or direct deposit banking information, and a photocopy of the birth certificate for the child, as well as birth certificate or supporting immigration documentation for the caregiver or caregivers involved in this family. Section 3 requires that you check the boxes for what you are asking for. In most cases, we suggest to families of children under 18, you're always going to be working on personal development and growth, essentially building skills, and family relief and support. In Section 3, Request for Service, we always suggest that families check both boxes in this section. And then in Section A below, you really want to consider what are a few things that you want your child to work on this year. What are some goals for your family, for your child, or for your child themselves? So perhaps a skill that you want to help them work on is building their social skills. So that would be certainly a great goal for Section 1. Section 2, perhaps there are some sensory needs, and one of the goals that you have for your family is participating in these sensory-based activities like swimming or snoozler room. You can put that as well. A chance to be around kids their own age, so same age peer socialization is always a good one. Programming in the summer to help with consistency and continuing with a routine is very important, so summer programming. And then this is also the section where you might want to look at skill development. So what are those skills that you're working on? For a younger child, that might include toilet training. For an older child, that might include building community awareness or safety skills. Those are all goals that you can include in this section. Section 4 is a section that a lot of families and professionals, quite honestly, struggle through. Just because in this section you want to indicate the strengths of your child, of course. What does he or she love to do? What are some things they're very good at doing? But you also want to talk about some of the challenges that your child or the person you're supporting faces on a day-to-day basis. And so why do they need extra support in participating in a social skills program? They're interested in making friends and they love to be around people, but they need a little bit of extra support to learn how to do this more appropriately, or to stay away from only talking about areas of special interest to them. So really what we suggest to families here is definitely capture the positives and the strengths of their child, but also talk about the little bit of extra help that they need in order to participate fully in their community. In this section of the application, we really want to consider the needs of the individual child and where they have strengths and where they might need a little bit of extra support. So in section B, personal development support, we want to look at the child's ability to communicate. How often do they need assistance in their communication skills? Is it constantly, hourly? Social skills, the same thing. When they're participating in a group activity, are you comfortable to know that they're able to manage the relationships with the other children in the program, or do they need a little bit of help? Are they talking only about one area of interest for them, or are they able to actually participate in a back and forth conversation? Social skills are an important thing that you can also talk about in the box below a little bit further if there are challenges there, and the same with community activities or involvement. How much support does that child need to participate fully in a community program? Is it something you can drop them off to and then leave with great comfort, or is it something that you need to be there in the background to provide support to your child to participate fully? Would they need constant one-on-one through the program? And then again, please give as much information as you can in the box below, or even write an extra letter to attach to the application if there's more detailed information that you think that they need. In section C, supervision, again, also think about how much supervision or support does your child or the child you're supporting require in the community or at home. In the community, if they can't be left to walk to the library by themselves if they need that support, and especially for younger children, of course, this would be constant. For older teenagers, how much independence can they have in their community? If you still are requiring the one-to-one, if there's no awareness of danger or safety skills in the community, that's definitely something you again want to indicate in the box. And the same at home. A lot of younger children need constant supervision within the home environment. Older children may or may not, and you want to indicate that as well. And if there are specific supervision issues, you might want to indicate that in the other box. If your child, if there's concerns about them leaving the house, then that's something also you want to indicate in this section. Sections D and E represent behavior and personal care needs of the child whose application this is representing. So the behavioral needs are fairly self-explanatory in the examples they give, but you also could include spitting, pushing, sleep difficulties, any anxiety, difficulty with transitions in here, and also give examples if you can in the box as well about what those difficulties are and the frequency. In terms of personal care as well, you want to, the examples they give are great, and especially younger children, they will need assistance in all of these areas. And again, if an older child or a child who age appropriately may be toilet trained, you want to indicate that your child is still in diapers in this section as well. So again, capturing all the skills needed to manage your day appropriately. Section F really allows you to capture the health and medical needs of your child or the individual you're supporting. So if they have a seizure disorder or require tube feeding, any suctioning or catheterization, this would be represented here and how often. And again, in the box below, give them as much information as you can. So the medication that your child might be on and what for, as much information as you're comfortable here. It just helps to build the application, as well as any other medical needs. If they have severe allergies, if there are any medications or supplements, perhaps constipation or asthma might be well captured in this section. Section 5 represents your current family situation. This is where you would indicate according to the factors if you are senior citizens. If there are other members of your family who require care, this can include siblings and also grandparents living in the home or other family members that require support in the home. If your family member is on a waiting list for other services, if there's only one parent in the home able to provide care, and also any additional information if you're alone in the country, if there are housing issues or personal medical health concerns, you want to indicate that here as well. Section 6 captures the support network that might be available to you. Some families are very lucky. They have great neighbors who come in and provide care, or reliable babysitters, or church communities, or family. This is where you want to indicate that. Other families have no supports in the city, and certainly also indicate that in this section. Section 7 captures any supports that your child may be involved in at the current time. So if they're in daycare, how often are they there for half a day or less or more? Are they waiting for this service? Same with nursery school or school, you want to give an indication of that service being provided. If you have any early intervention services or behavior management, that would be indicated in support services. Anybody that comes into your home or that you go out to or talk to about support for your child or the person that you're caring for would be indicated in the support services section. Service coordination or case management, if you have somebody that supports your family, a social worker, a service coordinator, a case manager, indicate that here as well, or if you're waiting. And anything else, if your child participates in Scouts or Beavers or Girl Guides, any other programs, you would indicate that in the last section of other. And then anything else in comments, this is where you might want to indicate, yes, my child is in school, but due to behavior, only half days, and there is a plan to increase that, or however your situation is at this time when you're completing the application. This section captures information related to the kind of external supports that might be coming into your home or that you might be accessing for your child or the child under your care. So if there is parental relief, so somebody coming into your home to provide respite care, or if your child is going to a respite program in the community, you would indicate that, the agency's name, and how many hours a week. Or if not, and you would indicate no for anything that you're not receiving currently, or if you've received it previously, please indicate that here. Attending care, nursing, again for children who have fairly high and complex medical needs, you would indicate that there. Homemaking as well, usually offered through the LIN, and for kids who are very complex or parents who have issues themselves, service might be offered. If you're paying for private speech or OT or services through group insurance plans, also please indicate that here. You may be eligible for the Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities program, ACSD, again another funding program for children under the age of 18. However, this program is income tested, so based on your annual salary. Please have a look at the ministry website to determine whether you are eligible, and please have a look at our wellness presentation on how to complete the ACSD application if you are eligible and need that support. Section 8 is where you place your signatures. The consent for release of information is if you have somebody who supports your family, a social worker, and you want them to be able to speak to the ministry about this application. You can place their name, their last name, first name, and telephone number here, and you must sign in the box with a red X as well to indicate that you are giving your consent for the ministry to speak to this person. The second section is the application signature, consenting to the submission of the application and noting that all the information, to the best of your knowledge, is correct. So you would sign where the red X is and put today's date. Congratulations, your Special Services application is now completed, and applications can be sent to the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services at the address on the side. Special Services at Home also has an online portal to manage funding at mydirectplan.com. We always suggest to families to keep a copy of your application just in case things get lost in the mail or in processing. And also in future, if you're requested to do an update, then you have an application to go from. Remember to attach copies of the diagnosis letter from a medical professional, as well as a void check or direct deposit banking information, and a copy of the child's birth certificate, as well as to include either birth certificates or immigration documentation such as a PR card or citizenship card copy to the application as well. Your feedback is very important to us. Please take a moment to complete the survey. You can use your phone to take a picture of the QR code below or copy and paste the following link into your browser. Thank you very, very much for listening to the presentation. We hope that you found it helpful.